20 years ago, Ivoclar introduced IPS Emacs, and we all know how that has turned out. Hi, Voices of the Ventures, Barb Warner here, and I would like to personally invite you to Ivoclar's IPS Emacs panel discussion, which is on Friday, February 22nd, starting at 3 o'clock at the LMT Lab Day in Chicago. I will be joined on stage with Jessica Burrell, Stephanie Goddard, Mike Roberts, Jed Archibald, and Dr. Ken Malamant as we dive into the world of Emacs. After the panel discussion, Ivoclar will be hosting a happy hour to commemorate this 20-year milestone. So amazing. So please join us by registering at labday.com/Ivoclar, and I cannot wait to see everybody in Chicago.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 357 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name is Barbara, and it is like frickin' 40 degrees in Florida. We got it.
And you're outside right now.
I'm outside right now.
Don't you need a heavy winter coat, scarf, gloves, boots? Isn't that how you Florida people handle 40 degrees?
You guys all might laugh at me, but I have not worn a coat for... the only time I ever wear a coat is in Chicago.
Sure.
I go from my garage to my car, into the lab, back to my car. Maybe I go to the store, but I don't give two shits. I just wear a sweatshirt or a sweater and call it a day.
It's 40 here in Indiana, so...
Come on.
For once, we've matched. Yes.
Well, you sent me a picture of the snow today, and I was pretty impressed because it actually snowed in Florida, but not where I am.
Did it really?
Yes. 8 inches in Pensacola. That's freaking like rock star snow.
Did you get any snow?
No.
Oh,
no.
Sorry. I don't know where Pensacola is.
It's about 8 hours north of me, but it's pretty sweet.
8 hours north and you're still in your state?
Yes, sir.
That's nice.
Yeah. That's where all us girls went on our girl trip. So you go like 5 hours north and then 2 hours west. So yeah, I love it.
Wow, you go 8 hours in any direction in Indiana and you're 2 states over.
I guess Florida's a little bigger.
There you go. So we're back from the Vision 21 meeting. We're back from Vegas. This is our first time on the podcast since then. What a great show.
I got to say, we got to give a shout out to the supplier of the year was Ivoclar.
Yes, ma'am. Well deserved.
Laboratory member of the year was Helm Dental Lab.
Oh, great lab. Great lab. And let's not forget Allie Williamson for Educator of the Year for all that she does to educate our industry.
Oh, yeah. And Danny Wong, I don't know if you guys know, but he got the Merit Award. And Philip Gold, Master, CDT, was a Hall of Fame award. So yeah, I really want to give a shout out to all those guys.
And let's not forget the CDT of the Year.
Oh, Michael Wadley.
I know. You're good friends with him. You guys wrote tests together. Yeah.
Yeah, we were the A team.
Yeah, I remember. He's now a master. We talked to him at Chicago last year. Very well deserved for everybody.
Yeah, great meeting.
Yeah, shout out to everyone that puts that meeting together. Again, just great content. Way too much fun in and around the meeting. It's just a great time. Highly recommend everyone to check it out every year. It's a great way to start the year.
Oh, yeah. And Joe. We love you, Joe. Congratulations.
Joe Young is now president.
Yes, sir.
May we all make it through the year okay.
They had little bobbleheads all over the place, and they were taking pictures on social
fun.
Media on the way home on the planes, and you name it. It was a really fun. Shout out to Paula and Morris and Denise and all the people that made that happen. That was a really, really special day.
What a great time. But hey, now the countdown's on. We're about a month out from the biggest show of the year here in the U.S., LMT Lab Day Chicago, February 20th to the 22nd. And of course, no secret, we are once again set up and recording in Ivoclar's Grand Ballroom all weekend.
Whoop, whoop.
So it's really exciting because we're building up to see everyone posting online all the presentations that they'll be giving or just presentations that they're looking forward to. It really looks like there's something for every kind of dental technician this year.
There's always something for every dental technician. That's what we love about LMT. It's just amazing.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the amazing lineup that's happening at the Ivoclar Ballroom, because it's not just us. I mean, we're not the only people taking up this whole ballroom.
Right on.
Ivoclar is going all out. So when you come, make sure you stop by and you say hi, and let's get you on the podcast, you know? I mean, isn't that the point?
That's the point. Well, that's our point anyways, yes.
And of course, thank you to Ivoclar for hosting us again for our 3rd year.
Thank you, Ivoclar. Unbelievable. And let's not forget about the meeting before Lab Day Chicago, CalLab. I do love CalLab. We're going to be recording during the cocktail hour on that Thursday night. So if you're not a part of the CalLab, do you and your business and yourself a favor and register at cal-lab.org. I think I got that right?
Yep.
Today.
You got your dashes, yep.
And go to the one, or if Jeff Strunk, I think, said the meeting of the year. So let's do it. Register, guys.
It's definitely a great meeting. And since you're already in Chicago, why not look into it?
Yes, let's do it. Oh, this week. Go, go, go.
Yeah, so this week we meet one of the owners of Utah Valley Dental Lab, Jim Thacker. So Jim got into the lab business by marrying the only daughter of a lab owner. Now, he started off doing finances, but of course, Jim started taking on additional roles and doing more and more as you do in small businesses.
Yeah.
But at the time, Jim was only one of 26 employees. Now, Utah Valley Dental Lab is up to 123 employees, and get this, 40 of them are owners of the lab.
Yeah, that's awesome. You heard that right.
Yeah. So Jim talks about learning about the dental lab, how they run a lab known for high-end aesthetics that still mostly does hand waxing. Crazy.
Right.
And how he grew the business through referrals and education. So join us as we chat with Jim Thacker. This February, there are a lot of vendors to visit at Lab Day Chicago, and one you don't want to miss is Adite at booth E26. They will be showcasing their exciting new products and cutting-edge solutions in digital dentistry. Attendees can explore hands-on demonstrations of biomix, stain, and glaze techniques, something many guests have mentioned on here before, along with some of their other innovative technologies. Adite will also host engaging lectures in Grand Suite 2 that's in the East Tower, covering topics such as EZ-Near, 3D Pro Zur, digital dentures, and their Adite cloud design service. And even before you go, you can stay updated by following at Adite North America on all social media platforms. And don't miss this opportunity to see how Adite is shaping the future of dental labs. Tell them you heard them on Voices from the Bench, and we appreciate your support of the podcast, Adite. Voices from the Bench. The interview. Barb and I are super excited today. We get to talk past podcast guests because I think we talked at CalLab.
Yes.
Finally ready to get you back in deep into the podcast. Jim Thacker, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you guys?
We are good.
Doing fantastic.
I'm good.
Fantastic.
I don't know about Elvis. Elvis was late, but
Yes.
It is that time of the year. So, Jim, owner Utah Valley Dental Lab.
Well,
Pretty big. What?
yeah, I'm an owner. Yes, one of 40.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but yes.
Did you say out of 40?
Yes.
one of 3 or 40. What'd you say?
40.
Damn.
There's 40 owners?
Yeah, that's 40. There's 40 owners. We're a little different. We're a little bit different. So, and we can get into that.
Yeah, I'd love to find out how a lab runs with 40 opinions going on at one time.
Well, there's only one opinion that matters. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. So thanks for joining us. Let's start off how you got into this dental lab business.
Oh my goodness. I married the right girl. I think there's a
Oh.
lot of family business stuff going on for
Mm-hmm.
most of us, and I married the only child of a dental lab owner. So
Wow.
the company was founded in 1962 by my wife's grandfather. So the company's a lot older than I am, and I've been here for almost 25 years now, and it's been a fun ride.
So has it always been called Utah Valley?
It has since its
Okay.
inception. Yes.
How did she convince you to go and work for the lab? That's my
Well,
first question.
like, well, how could you be so foolish? Is that what you're saying?
Kinda.
Uh,
How much did she lie to you?
there wasn't any lying. I mean, I worked for Wells Fargo Bank for 4 years prior to coming to the lab. I have a bachelor's degree in finance, and so my background is banking. And I was brought on by my father-in-law to really replace my mother-in-law, who had been paying the bills and things. And we were a smaller lab then. We only had, I think I was the 26th employee. And so, yeah, it's been a
Wait a
fun
minute, wait a minute, wait a
opportunity.
minute. From
Mhm.
the early 60s to 20 years ago, you're the 26th employee?
Yeah, well, yes, yes, not total employees, but yeah,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Where are
yes.
we losing you, Elvis? Seriously.
Everywhere.
Stay
But
with
that's
us,
okay.
Elvis. Stay
I'll
with
catch
us.
up. I'll catch up. So you came in just to do the numbers
Yeah, I
and
came in to do bookkeeping and customer
no idea what
relations
teeth
and
were.
things like that. No idea what teeth I other than that I had them. That's about all that I
Yes.
had. I was just brought in to run the business side. I don't think there was ever any intention to have me run the business, just to be the CEO or anything like that, because I'm not a technician by trade.
Mm-hmm.
But doing this for a while, you learn a lot along the way, and the business has grown to the point where it's not necessarily taking a technician and putting them in charge. So there's a lot to the business, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's so true because that does happen a lot. It happened in the lab that I'm from, where you take your best technicians and you put them in a manager position or even a higher up, and that's not necessarily the best spot for them. And a lot of companies now are going with non-technical leaders.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I remember talking to Jim Caruso at the Vision meeting a couple of years ago, and he's saying he never makes his technicians his managers. His technicians oftentimes are best doing exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's the most
Mm-hmm.
important use for them, and a lot of this is about getting people and the personnel and the resources you have on the right seat on the bus and doing what they do best, and try to offer them all the support you can.
So when you started, was grandfather still there?
Oh no, no, grandfather was not there. He passed away in 2001,
Okay.
and he had already retired. And I worked with my father-in-law for a number of years, and he late 90s he started to. Well, I guess I shouldn't say late 90s. Probably getting around 2010, he started cutting back and things and doing less and less, and he's pretty much retired right now, but he's still a great resource for me and a big part of our culture to this day. So we keep in touch.
You didn't always stay in finance, though, did you? Didn't you move up the ladder pretty rapidly?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was mostly it was a smaller lab. I had multiple hats. Yes, I did run the books and did the payroll and all that kind of stuff, anything that was not related to actually making teeth. But I did some ordering and different things associated with the business. But I kind of worked my way up, and I started talking to customers. I was kind of a scheduling coordinator as well. And there's still people to this day that will call me and schedule cases and whatnot. But yeah,
Well, that's
it's
great.
just whatever needs to be done. It's just
Yeah,
like any other small business that you do what needs to be done.
I agree.
So when you were dating your now wife,
Oh, here we
did
go.
she, did she even hint at what the family was doing?
Well, what they were doing, it's like it makes it sound like it's the mob or something like that.
And
Elvis, what's going
did
on?
she say we make teeth?
Yeah, I mean, to the outside person, it is. I mean, we do some strange stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. It's. I knew that they had a dental lab. My wife did pick up and delivery and did some various janitorial tasks and whatnot. I had gotten my degree in business and finance, and this wasn't my path, but when you marry into a family that has like I said, I married an only child. Sometimes you just have a little voice in your head telling you that I'm going to end up in the family business one way or the other. But it's been something that's been a real blessing in my life. I've been very grateful, and it's served me well. So hopefully they feel the same about me.
Aw, is
That's
she
on
still
next
there?
week's episode. Next week's episode, we talk to them.
Yes. Is your wife still there?
No, she's not. She's not involved in the business. She's not particularly interested in it. She actually quit going to business meetings with me a couple of years ago. She's like,
I'm
"Yeah,
out.
you just do your thing." And my mother-in-law is the same way. They just they're not. They're fine having us run the business, and
Yep.
they don't really want to be involved, and that's okay.
That's how my mom was.
It creates balance at home.
Yeah, my mom was the
She
same
didn't want
way.
anything to do with it, huh?
Yep. She was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yep.
It almost sounds like they wanted her to go in the business, unless you could find a sucker to marry her.
Right.
Well,
it's funny because it was my wife's grandfather that founded it, and it seemed to travel to son-in-laws. So I'm eagerly watching to see who my daughter gets in a relationship with and marries eventually.
Yeah.
But now we'll see.
When you started, you're a 26th employee. When did
Yes.
growth happen? I know you're a lot bigger now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have about 123
Holy moly.
right now.
Yeah.
We have an interesting journey. We were a lot like a lot of dental labs are, small local lab, and we took care of local dentists, did pickup and delivery, crown and bridge, dentures, all that stuff. And we did that mostly for local labs. But then in the late 90s, we had one of our dentists who was older, and his son joined the practice and started doing all of the general dentistry in the practice. And he saw that as an opportunity to start doing some different kind of work. He wanted to do life-changing dentistry. He wanted to do the fun stuff where you're changing lives. And he decided that he was going to start taking some of those aesthetic veneer courses. Late 90s. It was Pack Life specifically.
Oh, yeah.
With Dr. David Hornbrook.
Yeah.
And the dentist came to us and said, "Hey, I'm going on a journey, and I'd like you to go with me."
Really?
And
I did not know that, Jim. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dr. Roy Hammond.
So it was that
in
doctor
Provo, Utah.
that got you guys involved originally.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And so what, did you say, hell yeah, I'm in?
Well, we said, sure, let's see where this goes. He's like, "I'd like you to go with me." And so we went with him to the courses, and we started making connections and friends, and we had some amazing technicians and people that started building relationships. And we started acquiring dentists all over the country, and we started getting more and more aesthetically demanding doctors. Our fees went up because we had to take care of our technicians that were taking care of these doctors. And we started pricing out local dentists that were taking insurance and everything else. And we just slowly started growing, and we probably took us to, we've just had steady growth and a few big spurts in the early 2000s. And then COVID, we just exploded.
What?
We grew 60%
Wow.
during COVID, our revenues.
Give that up. How'd you do that?
And yeah, we went from 80 to 120 employees during the COVID pandemic, and it was an amazing time for aesthetic and fee-for-service dentistry, and we've been very fortunate to come out well.
Is that because Utah never shut down or something? Or
well, when you have a national client base, I mean, obviously, when the pandemic started in March of 2020. There were the first states that went offline, and they were a lot of the states with higher population densities where they had bigger health concerns and the ability to handle the load. So there were states like California and things that were some of the last to come back online. But we were down for about 8 weeks, just like everybody else. And when it came back, it was an absolute tsunami of work. We had no idea. We thought, we had a whole plan in place for who wasn't coming back and how we were going to scale down and deal with the new normal. And the new normal ended up being something really different than we expected.
So instead of just bringing them back in waves, you just brought everybody back all at once?
Well, we did bring them back in waves. I remember very well taking my model room and saying, "Look, you guys are going to be the first to go, but you'll also be the first ones back." And so,
Hmm.
and that's how it happened. And we ended up at least offering positions to everybody who had been furloughed during that pandemic, because we just kept on working. And then when people ran out of work, they just left, and we were fortunate enough to get a PPP loan and keep things going.
Yeah,
And
that's what we did.
Sure.
Yep.
it was an amazing
Yep.
experience.
So when that happens and it comes back, like you said, with a tsunami, like how do you keep up with the volume, bring everybody back, and then you probably had to find more ceramists, correct? How the heck did you
We
manage
did.
that?
It was a combination of things. We first of all worked a lot of overtime and got a lot of people going. It gave opportunities for people who were developing to step up and do new things, and we had to train new people things. We had
They didn't let you make a crown, did they?
no. That wouldn't be good for the brand. But we had at the time Kent Colai was working for us, and he was able to
Oh yeah.
find some people that through some recruiters and things that we
Okay.
brought in from the outside. And also through different means, there's a lot of people who know who we are, and we get a lot of inquiries for people who have their own labs and they're tired of the grind of having to run a business and make all the teeth and everything else. And so we were fortunate to get a nice group of people together that really work hard and step up.
So you were able to find technicians throughout the country and get them to move to Utah?
Yeah, there was probably two or three that I could think of, right? Three of them that I could think of offhand, but most of our talent is homegrown. And it was, we like to develop and train people. And a lot of people, we just turned from waxers into ceramists and just gave them
That makes
opportunities to
sense.
do more and be more. So it's been good. And it's been a great time for opportunities for our team.
What does your training look like? Do you have a program or do you just over the shoulder?
Well, there's a lot of on the job stuff,
Sure.
obviously, because there really are no dental laboratory technology training programs, certainly in our area. The last one left a number of years ago,
Yeah.
and it's like any schooling where you have to come out of there and then you have to learn a real job. They
Yeah,
teach
just like
you
dentists.
principles. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You're not going to have people coming out of school making $300 veneers right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to it. It's a highly artistic profession. These people don't, and people like this don't grow on trees, and we're grateful for the people we have. But as far as our training goes, we do have a combination of on the job. Like we like everybody else, we have people start out in the model room if they show that they're good with their hands and everything else, and they have we have them try waxing and see if they have the aptitude.
Mm.
See if they have the aptitude for CAD designing, and we try to just get them into different tasks and let them understand the workflow, and just keep continuously promoting the best people. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it, and it's fueled a lot of our growth. But we do also have some formal training programs as well. We have a technician who used to have a school where he was training techs, and we've set up an operation for him to start developing waxers and things, because we
Oh,
still do a
nice.
lot of waxing and pressing
I
as
was going to
well.
ask you that when you said the waxing. So yeah, so you guys are still doing a fair amount of hand waxing?
Oh yeah, a tremendous amount. If we have time, we'll get into our business model a little bit. But I was talking to Jed Archibald the other day, and he said something really interesting. He said, if you ever want to have ceramists, really great ceramists, they kind of need to wax first, because they learn how to use their hands and see things in that three-dimensional world, and
Mm-hmm.
understand contours and everything else. And then, because right now, even waxing is becoming a dying art, in that
Lost art.
everybody's starting to use CAD CAM, and even we do a lot of milling of wax now, and we'll go ahead and press it. I'd say probably 60% of our anterior work that we do is hand waxed.
Wow.
Really? That's got to be rare these days.
It is, with milling and stuff, and
Yeah.
you look at how a lot of labs it's gone all milling and CAD CAM, and we've done the same, but there's a lot of stuff that you've got to a lot of the more aesthetically demanding stuff, you still have to wax and press or mill wax and press just
Yeah.
to get the aesthetics that you want. I mean, there's a lot of cases the CAD CAM stuff is most certainly adequate and good enough, but our clientele oftentimes wants something a little bit more.
That's fascinating because we're doing the same thing. So we do some CAD and then we mill the wax and then, especially for diagnostics. But I would assume you guys are doing a lot of very thin prep cases and
Yes,
definitely.
thin veneers are all the rage right now.
Yep.
And we do all of ours with pressable ceramics, and they're really, really thin. And the CAD CAM world hasn't quite caught up to. We don't like to get, for example, somebody's doing a really conservative prep veneer or a no prep veneer. We like to have doctors send in polyvinyl impressions, at least for the master impression, just because it helps they can see the margin. Especially when there is no margin, because it's a total no
Oh,
prep.
yeah.
And so we found that we still do some of those old school techniques, and we adapt based on what the doctor wants.
I remember you saying that you got a lot of these high-end clients go into a course that doctor introduced you to, but obviously you must have done something to market to them. How do you become known as the place that does high-end hand wax thin veneers? I mean, what is your marketing like?
Our marketing is, we found that there's absolutely nothing more effective than peer referral. I mean, there's nothing even close. We have a couple of markets, we have a big customer in Atlanta, and that working with that account for 25 years, you get all of the people who used to work there, whether it be former associates and former assistants, and people talk. And, we have a whole family tree that grows in certain markets where you have key dental influencers that influence the market. But most of it is peer referral. Lately, we've gotten more into social media, but we also do a lot of CE courses. That's probably our biggest thing, is a peer referral and using key opinion leaders. And we still work with Dr. Hornbrook to this day,
really?
producing live patient courses where doctors will bring a patient, and we'll do live patient courses where we'll have 10 to 12 doctors, each with their own patient and with a mentor, and prepping 10 to 12 veneers. So, and so they learn how to do that. We become the resource for that. As with everything else, we're in the relationship business, and it gets us when you do everything by mail order, it's nice to have FaceTime and get to know and work with some of these people, and go to dinner with them and hang out with them. And that's where we start building those relationships.
Yeah, go into that course with Dr. Hornbrook if you don't mind, because that was going to be one of my questions. Are you still doing similar courses like that? So where do you guys do that? Is that in where you guys are like close to your lab, or do you travel?
We used to do it on the road with Dr. Hornbrook, because we did start in the late 90s with Pack Live, and then we moved on when he started doing the Hornbrook group, and he took it on the road, and he went to Chicago and all over the country, Memphis, and Nova down in Fort Lauderdale, and just all over the country, Temple and Philadelphia. So all over the country. But we've kind of got to a point where we do everything local. It is a little bit tricky. There's some one of the reasons not very many people do live patient courses is because there's some hurdles that go with that in terms of licensing for out-of-state dentists.
I was just going to say,
yeah. And so we usually do it in a dental school.
Okay.
And that's how we have to do it. But we still have to go through and get certification from the state of Utah and other people to make sure that everybody's T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and make sure that if anything happens, that we don't have the liability and things. But it's been tremendously rewarding to do these courses. And we also sponsor a young dentist course, which has been a huge boost for us, where we take dentists who have been out of school for less than 5 years, and we have them work with Dr. Hornbrook, and kind of establishes him as their guru and education leader. And we just keep adding new people to the list, and it's been fun.
When you get like a young dentist or a new client and they're prepping veneers, and you have one of your techs go, okay, this guy needs help. in a good way. Like,
Yeah,
I know we
sure.
can help him, and then you kind of turn him on to Dr. Hornbrook and hook those two up, and then the rest is
Exactly.
history.
Exactly. I mean, Barb, you've known this forever. I mean, how many veneer courses have you personally given over the phone uh,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
to a
exactly.
dentist? It's like you didn't go to dental school, but you're the one telling the doctor everything that you need to make a predictable and successful case.
Yeah.
And so that gives us a leg up, and we have a resource to be able to call on to get people doing things the way we want it done. Because
Mhm.
when you do the kind of dentistry that we do, it can get a little tricky sometimes with dentists just making stuff up, and they think they've done enough, and
Yeah.
they think that all they have to do is use a good lab, but the truth is they don't have the training from dental school or wherever to do things in a predictable way.
I'm curious. You say you use a local dental school for these courses,
Uh-huh.
so 10 to 12 dentists show up with a patient from all over the country.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. What patient's traveling with their dentist?
Uh,
I mean, that just
One
seems
a
that's
lot of
getting
odd.
time.
it. Yeah.
Well, they're usually the patients that are coming with it's usually a parent or a sibling or a spouse
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
or an assistant or a front office person
Yep.
that can be, because that's really for a dentist that's doing aesthetic dentistry. The best marketing they'll ever spend is taking care of someone who's smiling at them at the front desk. Uh,
So
and
true.
That makes a
and
lot of
Bingo.
sense.
it's like, look, hey, Judy, come on in here and show them your veneers, kind of thing. Let's show you what we can do. And so there's a lot of that stuff going on. We also, if a doctor has a patient that maybe can't afford to do, you know, 10 veneers and pay the normal fee, they say, look, you can pay for half the fee and 2 trips to Utah, and you can get yourself a new smile, and
Yeah.
you're in there part of a teaching environment. So
And it's worth that. I don't want to say discount, but it definitely is a training environment. And so, you spend a fair amount of time in those environments. I can recollect, because I've been to Dr. Hornbook's courses, where it's worth it to have somebody compromise a little bit monetarily to have that experience and be able to train them and have them sit in the chair for a little longer, and the doctor and the mentor over them and discussing things. I mean, it's a lot of work to be a
Oh,
patient,
absolutely.
honestly.
It's the best CE value because it's Monday morning stuff that they can go in and use in their practice every day. And we have so many dentists that comes to these courses that have never prepped more than 2 to 4 crowns in one shot in their life. And getting them in there in that clinical environment and doing 10 for the first time can be kind of a wild ride, but it's but it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun and really fulfilling.
And they're nervous.
When does the lab make the veneers? Overnight?
Oh, well, no. We do 2 weekends.
That was funny. No, no, no.
No,
No,
no, no,
no.
no, no, no. No, we do it over 2 weekends that are about 5 to 6 weeks apart, and
Oh, okay.
so and we're obviously have to be very sensitive to our existing client base. That I'm sorry you can't get your veneers back. We're doing a course right now.
Yeah,
We're taking
sure,
Yeah.
care of
sure.
new. We don't want to be giving the impression that we like new doctors better than the existing
Of
ones.
course not.
Yeah.
And so we usually stagger it so that we're able to best take care of our existing base and manage the growth.
And
So
everybody flies back for delivery.
yep, yep. And I have my technicians there on site for the prep appointment and the seat appointment. They get to see what the patients go through
Wow.
and what the doctors go through, and it's a very rich experience that we are really thrilled to be part of.
And I like the way you say you're building relationships, because honestly, from an emotional perspective, it doesn't get any better than that for
No,
everybody.
it doesn't, because we are in the relationship business. Any business is really, but especially us, especially when you look at the commoditization of our industry, and you're seeing massive labs that are doing tons of AI, tons of automated design, and that kind of makes the playing field so that everybody can make the same restorations. You've got to provide something beyond that, something more. And that's what we're banking on as the industry is continuously changing. So
How often are those patients not happy with their final result or shade?
Like
Never.
the ones at the courses?
Yeah, I'm just thinking they've waited the 4 or 5 weeks. The technician's right there.
Well, Barb will tell you that's our daily life. That's what we do. Is that dental technicians live a life of putting their heart and soul and art into things and sending off their crowns, and they never hear anything again unless it's bad news.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a smile is something that's extremely personal.
Sure.
And it's something that is a lot of many people's identity. And yeah, it's almost always, though, when you put people in provisionals, they're always thinking that they're too bright. And then when they get their definitive final restorations, that they've finally gotten used to them after a while.
Yeah.
And if you do anything that's any darker than their temps, they're
You're in
like,
trouble.
well, wait a minute.
Yep.
So
Yep. I always say err on the light side, because you can always tweak it a little bit, but then you
That's
got to
right.
remake the whole damn thing if you have to go lighter. So you always go
Well,
lighter.
and what we do is the seat weekend for these courses is pretty high pressure, because if you don't deliver it, it's a problem.
Yeah.
We've had we have porcelain ovens and stain trays and hand pieces, and we're there on site with our technicians to adjust and modify as needed if the patients may be unhappy with the contour or this or that before we bond it in. So sometimes it can get a little scary, and every once in a while, I know this shocks you, a doctor will break one.
Yeah, that's
we've
a
had
real pisser. Sorry.
Yeah, we've had doctors that have dropped veneers down the patient's throat. So,
Oh yeah.
So things happen, but like any kind of education or course environment, everybody learns more when things don't go exactly as planned.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
and how to deal with it, how to handle it, all that stuff.
Let's hope that was the doctor's assistant, not wife, when that happened.
Well, if it was his wife, you don't have to put this on air, but he would probably ask her to retrieve it eventually.
Yes, and she may or may not wish to do that.
I'd be like, no, that's never happening, never ever.
I did have a doctor once just jokingly say to a patient, "Well, I guess you'll have to strain your stools," and and when you find it, bring it back in, and we'll cement it back in your mouth.
God. Yeah, been there, done that.
The doctor was just teasing the patient.
Yeah, that never goes over well.
No, but if you live for awkward moments, maybe that's something that you do.
You're
so.
Funny. Elvis?
Sorry, my dogs are going nuts. I'm on mute.
Hold on. That's what happens when every now and again we'll be recording Saturday morning and his dogs go ape shit. So I'm gonna wait for him.
No, you're fine. You can keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I can hear. I just don't want you guys to have to live with what I live with.
Oh, we love that.
Oh, Elvis, it must be fun.
Oh, it's something.
Those sound like one of those little annoying small dogs.
They
Four
are.
of them.
The high pitch.
They are.
4?
Yeah.
One's enough for me.
Yeah.
So how often do you do these courses? I mean, is it once a year, a couple times a year?
2 or 3 times a year. We'll do, as far as for the live patient goes,
Yeah.
we'll do.
That's a lot, man.
We'll do these twice a year and sometimes 3 times a year, based on demand. And we'll do our young dentist course, which is an over-the-shoulder kind of environment where we just do one patient. And then we do some occlusion courses and some other things based on demand and what doctors want to do. And we also support other organizations that are doing no prep veneer courses and get ourselves involved with those teachers as well. So, that's how we grow is we seek opportunities and we take them when we get them. If you have a clinician that's teaching, it's like, fine, figure a way to piggyback on what they're doing and
I love that.
use it as a tool to make your business grow.
So you have clients or doctors that work with you be your speakers at your courses?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We don't do any courses with people we don't work with directly.
Sure.
So, so it becomes a collaborative process where we get our technicians involved and the doctors involved, and they make presentations together, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. And it's good for our brand and establishes us and builds relationships. And it's a nice way to do things. So it's been a successful model for us.
Do they come to you with courses, or do you reach out to them?
Sometimes,
Yeah, I bet.
sometimes, yeah, we have with say, hey, I'd like to do this, and we said no to things where it's like, okay, we want to do a course on sleep dentistry or whatever, but we don't make sleep
Oh
appliances or anything
yeah.
like that. So we'll say, you know what, that's great that you want to do that, but that doesn't really, fit in our wheelhouse and isn't really what we do. So, but we'll do things. We've been involved with some implant things with varied success, but most of the stuff we do is elective fee for service aesthetic dentistry. So,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How has your business model changed? So is it mostly, if you were looking at a percentage, is it mostly like 80% aesthetics, like high-end aesthetic veneers and
yeah,
those
I
type
would
of
say so.
cases?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would say probably, I'd say it's probably 2/3, 1/3. We still do our high growth areas are anterior aesthetics as well as implants. But you see, as most labs have discovered, with chairside milling and cheap commodity labs, that you're doing less and less and less of single posteriors, and
Yeah.
you're doing stuff that machines can't do. You're doing the implants and the veneers and that kind of stuff, and that's where we see our primary growth areas and going forward.
So you guys are doing chairside too?
No, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm just saying that you see doctors that will go buy this machine or that machine, and they're
Oh,
trying to
gotcha.
save themselves into prosperity by doing. Um,
That's what they think anyways.
well, sure. I actually had a doctor that told me he was too busy for CEREC. He was just like, I don't need that. He's like,
Wow.
he bought one and disappeared for about 6 months and realized that, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I could dismiss the patient and put somebody else in the chair and prep some more.
Yep.
So
Bingo.
And
That is a
seats. Come
no-brainer.
on.
so he came back with a vengeance, and that's been a great relationship. So,
Do you even do posterior crowns?
oh yeah, we
Simple,
do lots of them.
monolithic,
Yeah, we
nothing
yeah we
crazy.
do. No, we do a lot of them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our goal is we want to. I mean, yeah, we're a lab that people send their hardest work to and the hardest things to. But but what we really want is a broad relationship where we're able to do everything that a doctor needs, and we want that full relationship. We still
Yeah.
do of our single posteriors and stuff. We're probably doing 35 to 40% of them with model free. We're not doing
Mm.
it. We're just
Wow,
getting the
really?
getting the
Awesome.
file. Oh yeah, we're just getting the files in and designing them and finishing them up and sending them out in a little bag.
Yeah.
So
Wow. You guys have your own on-site designers?
we do, we do.
Cool. Wow.
But there's AI as well,
Yeah.
for but not for everything. We're trying to do a lot of stuff. We're trying to balance the technology needs and the fact that we've got to stay competitive price wise and things, with also developing employees
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So I thought that this year in Chicago, Jim Glidewell said something absolutely profound, and that is, we're trying to eliminate as many jobs in the dental lab as possible, but not necessarily people. We're, that his mission is to preserve and protect the careers and earning potential of his employees.
Talk about a lab that has so much automation and so much technology, yet they
Right.
keep adding people.
But he's trying to create career jobs and living
Yeah.
wages.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of a well articulated way with what we're trying to do. We're trying to create great jobs and people that we don't want jobs that are repetitive or not, that don't require much skill. We want people here earning career wages and making as much money as they can.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we talk a lot about fixed veneers and implants and whatnot. What about removable? Are you putting that much energy and art into your removable, or do you even do them?
Not really. Just with the skill sets of the people that we have, we made the decision this last summer to eliminate dentures and partials. We
Just this
quit doing
last
them in
summer.
house. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We had some turnover with personnel and things, and we decided to make a business decision and take the people that are involved in that process and put them toward the all in X and hybrids and stuff like that. And we found that was a better use and had a higher ceiling for them career wise and things. And I just got to a point where removables was 2% of my revenue and 40% of my headaches.
See
And
ya.
and it was like, and we had a lot of local dentists that the only things that they were bringing were relines and repairs that are
Ugh,
disruptive to the workflow.
yep.
And so most of what we do now is night guards and splints and things that are in support of our
Sure.
fixed
Yeah.
work, kind of a value added service. And life's been a lot nicer
Yeah.
without that headache. So, which was really hard to do because our roots were kind of in dentures and removables and things. And that's what my wife's grandfather did, is he was a removable tech, and it was part of our heritage. But it just got to the point where, the labor shortage and the fact that people have these astronomical expectations for removable cases, and all of them are compromised in one way or another.
Oh, sure.
and we just
It's
decided
not easy.
yeah, we just decided it wasn't the best for us. But there's a lot of money and opportunity to be made for people out in the removable world. We just chose a different path.
Well, it's so easy for a lab to get a new removable client because everybody needs a good removable lab. So it must have been really hard to say, we're not doing it anymore. It's just
we did, and it was slowly dying anyway because we had some turnover and the quality was inconsistent, and we wanted to have a product that we could be proud of. The truth is, if I found a denture technician tomorrow that could deliver something that was commensurate with our brand and we could charge accordingly, I'd fire it back up tomorrow, and I know I'd have all the work I could handle in pretty short order.
Sure. But where does that person live? Where does that
Yes.
unicorn in our That's the hard
That's
part.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
But I mean, I know you said that 2% of everything you guys are doing. I like the fact that you guys actually looked at it and said, you know what, this is really, we're struggling here. It's only 2%. And even though it was part of your heritage, you took the risk and eliminated it. And I think it takes a lot of guts, personally.
It did. It was something that was, it's hard to say no to work.
Yeah.
All of us were trained and raised to look for every way possible to say yes to everything, especially this time of year.
Oh God, yeah.
But I keep reminding people. I said, okay, remember when mid-January rolls around and all the doctors have been closed for 2 weeks and there's no work in here. We got to make hay while the sun shines, and that's how it works.
And I'm going to do backflips and say, man, maybe I'll take a day off.
Maybe I'll take a day off. That's right. That's right. I remember visiting you in your lab, Barb, when you were.
Yeah.
It was right over New Year's, and that place was dead. And you had somebody in there busting your chops over, hey, we got to hit our goals. We got to hit our goals.
Hasn't changed much, Jim.
The question is, Barb, did you hit your goal?
I always hit my goals. Especially aesthetically. Like I just love what I do, and I do a lot of the similar cases to what Jim's lab's doing, and like it never gets old. I love what I do. I love the people I do it with, and I love the doctors.
Yeah, it's fulfilling. If you could find that right partnership, it's amazing, fulfilling work. It's a lot of fun, and we've been very fortunate to be in that world.
Yep.
Usually, when you hear of a lab that's 100+ employees, you hear them going after DSO a lot. And the $80 crown race, and that's even high.
Yeah.
But do you even play in that game?
No, we don't.
That's crazy.
But I do have. Well, it is. I think that's probably the biggest. If you were to say what's the biggest threat to the dental lab industry, I would say it's DSOs and corporate dentistry. That's the one thing that we watch as we have all these terrific fee-for-service practices that we have amazing relationships with, that their succession plan, they don't have a child or anything that's going to come in, and a daughter or a son that's going to join them in the practice, and you have some private equity company offering them stupid amounts of money to sell. And DSOs exist to create economies of scale and be able to work vendors over for cheaper pricing.
Yeah, they do.
And that's why they exist. And the truth is, dental laboratories mass produce a custom product, and that makes us somewhat unique in that there's not really efficiencies outside of maybe bundling shipping that come from doing lots and lots and lots of work. It's one of those things where so far we've resisted. We have lots of people, I probably have 8 Heartland accounts. I have a bunch that are part of other DSOs. And, it's slowly happening where people are selling more and more and more as part of a succession plan. And what we're trying to do is find people who we're trying to expand our market, because when you have, like us, we're probably, if you want to have fun with numbers, and this is just quick math in my head, if there's 200,000 practicing dentists in the country, licensed dentists in the country, and you probably take 60,000 of them are some sort of specialist, 60 to 80,000, you're down to maybe 120,000 dentists that are GPs. And if you say that you only work for the top 5%, you're talking about 6,000 dentists. That's your market.
Yeah.
And so you have a choice. You need to have a combination of trying to capture as much of that market as you can, but you're also trying to add to that market to find more people who want to move into that realm. And there's a lot of dentists that want to do that, a lot of young dentists that want to move into that world, but so many of them are coming out of school with huge amounts of debt.
Yeah.
And they're employees of an organization and they don't have decision-making authority. So yeah, we're trying to navigate those waters as best we can and try to maintain and build more and more relationships all the time.
But it sounds like the vision of the business is that's exactly what you're doing, especially with the Dr. Hornbrook courses and with the young dentists and the mentoring and all of that. It's like you're growing your own business with
correct. And so get along lines of what Elvis referred to earlier is back in 2007, my father-in-law made the decision to sell 45% of the business to his employees. He still owns a controlling share and he can sell the business anytime he wants. But what we did is we brought on, our key employees as owners of the company, equity partners. They mortgaged their houses. They borrowed where they could, borrowed from their 401k, borrowed from family to buy into the business. And what that does is that creates a huge stabilizing factor for us in terms of culture and in terms of those relationships. Yeah. And people literally have a vested interest. For example, if you worked at a large lab, it's very, very seldom do large labs allow their doctors to speak directly with the people that make their teeth. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is
we only let them certain ones on the phone.
Right. Well, yes. And that's a whole other conversation. That's next week's episode. But no, the truth is that a lot of them will have managers and they will work with the doctors and then they will turn around and relay the information to the technicians. And it's because they don't want those technicians leaving and taking those relationships with them as if they went to another lab. So they're trying to insulate their technicians from getting involved with doctors, on a personal and relationship level. Wow. So by having our people be owners, I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. So I give my doctors direct access to our technicians and they get to, and it allows for a lot of collaboration and a lot of relationship building because I'm not worried that somebody's going to take off and open their own lab and take a book of business with them.
Yeah.
And so it's been very stabilizing for our company and people care. They care about our profits. They care about our growth. They care about the sustainability of this company. And having, with a third of your employees being equity partners, it really takes a lot of the weight off of me. Yeah. And puts a lot on, it just spreads the load.
Equal opportunity stress.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also a little more self-serving.
Yeah.
I have what I call team leaders that are essentially middle management, and their job is to take care of the doctors, their preferences, whatever they need. Some labs have a specific look of the way all their crowns look and their veneers look, and they have a quality control. Whereas I allow all my people to just meet the doctors where they want to be met and give them what they want and make it look the way they want it to look. Yeah. So Utah Valley Dental Lab doesn't necessarily have a specific look of a product, but our technicians do. And
Yeah,
so
I love that.
we let them do their thing, and occasionally I have to intervene and change technicians or whatever. But for the most part, these people are invested and they take care of their business. It's a wonderful world.
And that was your father-in-law's idea?
Yeah, yeah. It was
Wow.
something that was done to stabilize the business. Anybody who's ever owned a business has felt that weight when things go poorly, or the business is struggling, or bad decisions, or decisions need to be made, or bad decisions are made, and dealing with the consequences of that. And my father-in-law he didn't want it all on him anymore. He
Yeah.
wanted to be able to share that load and get a little more buy-in from people, and also keep people from leaving and keep people settling in. I mean, I've got lots of 20 plus year employees, and it's really nice.
What I love is that, he kept, or somebody close to you guys kept that majority share.
Right.
That's the most, stable, and he knows, okay, I'm still here, and, the company's not being sold out from under the family, but yet you've got that stability of that, number one shareholder.
Yes.
I wish that would have happened to me, honestly.
The drama of family dental labs, that could be a whole other conversation. But,
Yeah. For sure.
as a lab owner, just like most of the people that go into business for themselves, they don't want to work for anybody else. They don't want to answer to anybody else. They don't want to have to defend their choices and their decisions. That's why they went into business for themselves. And so that's why he kept his controlling interest. But what he was really doing was inviting all of us, and he made a bet that we would be able to grow the lab far beyond what it would ever be with him being the sole owner. He had several bona fide offers to sell the business, and he just made a bet on his employees, and it paid off a lot.
I love that.
That's great.
That's so cool.
We don't have to get into the weeds and the numbers, but what happened? No, I'm just curious. Employees, you just say it takes X amount to become an owner. They give you the money, and then they hope that the profit return over years is more than that. Is that basically how it works?
That's basically how it works. I mean, we had the company valued, and and we try to keep our stock price affordable. But whenever we have an employee that retires, quits or whatever, and it doesn't happen very often,
sure,
they take, those shares become available, and we make a decision as a company and say, okay, do we want to just retain these shares as, for a rainy day and when we need to raise capital or whatever to buy equipment, or do we redistribute these to other owners, or do we want to bring new people into the fold? And we make those decisions. A lot of it has to do with the ownership, has a lot to do with the replaceability of an employee.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, don't like to use the word golden handcuffs, but that's kind of what it's like, look, because if you're going to be an owner, you're going to give you this opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to make more money, because that's another thing with dental technicians. They can only make so many teeth.
Yeah.
They can only make so many teeth. And at some point they just top out. And the only way for them to make more is to have their own shop. And we don't want to necessarily have that.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's kind of what goes into it is we'll just make a list when stuff becomes available and decide how to divvy it up.
I love that.
How long did it take for them to make their initial investment back? Was it quick?
The original group, this would have been the group that bought in 2017. It took about 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it's just all
That's fantastic.
bonus after that.
Well, it's like anything. The profits and the distributions that go out, it's like anything else in life. You can either use that to pay down your debt, or you can use it to boost your lifestyle.
Or go get a car.
Lifestyle.
It's like, nothing makes me happier to see one of my workers go out and buy $100,000 new truck.
Yeah. Seriously.
It's like, oh, well, I guess they won't be going, they're now married to that debt.
Yeah.
So.
And you sound like Jim Glidewell, honestly, Jim. And your name's Jim. But I mean, he said the same thing. Nothing makes him happier than happy people making a lot of money. No?
Yeah, and that's what we want around here. I mean,
Yep.
we have the same problems as everybody else. There's always people that think they deserve more, and we measure their production and productivity and act accordingly. And so,
Yep.
yeah, and it's tough when you're in an environment that you don't have. If you're a company where you're in an environment where you really can't raise prices very much, because we're kind of hitting the upper ceiling of probably what we can charge sometimes. And what you watch all of the automation and different things with dental labs, and you have to make a decision. It's like either we got to figure out how to make more, or we got to get more efficient. And that's what we're constantly trying to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because shipping goes up every year, materials goes up every year, health insurance goes up every year. If your fees can't go up accordingly, you got to get creative in how to figure out how to create growth opportunities for your people.
Do you have like a board meeting for everybody that gets together and you kind of vision out the lab, or?
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can have a say, right?
No, I mean, it's like if you own McDonald's stock, you don't have the right to go in and tell them how to make your cheeseburger.
I want more salt on my fries, man.
Well, but there is a reality. If you're a minority shareholder, anything, there's a certain amount of trust that you're placing in, and we have a high trust environment with our owners where they want to trust that this golden goose that's this company is going to continue to provide a nice living for them, and that we're making good decisions and along the way. And nobody bats 1,000. We make poor choices along the way, but we're always trying to pursue new revenue streams and get better and make relationships better and try to figure out how to charge as much as humanly possible for our product.
Hell yeah. Love that.
So
well said.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a good business to be in, and we're optimistic, and we're, again, with everything going on, we're banking on this idea that there's always going to be dentists out there that want something more, that want something better. Not everybody wants to shop at Walmart, and finding those people is really, really hard, and it's expensive. And and people have choices, and there's a lot of great labs out there doing some amazing things.
Yeah.
So,
well, it sounds like you're doing something right, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you're putting out some good work, and you got some happy employees. It's a win-win for everybody.
Well, we try to have a great culture. We spend more time with each other than we do with our families, and
yeah,
I've learned a long time ago that kindness is free.
Yeah,
it costs nothing, but sometimes it gets high pressure, and we're just trying to have a nice place to be and a nice culture and a nice place to work.
Yeah.
So
love it. Jim, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, anytime.
We'll see you at Visions, hopefully.
Well, you'll see. I'll definitely be in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I'm still trying to decide on Vision this year. It depends. I've got options on where I can go. I can go meet with dentists, or I can meet with lab techs.
I know what I would choose, but
yeah. What would you choose? Lab techs? Your people?
Yep. Well, good talking to you. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Jim.
much.
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Thanks, Barb and Elvis. You guys are great, and we love what you do. It's a fun thing you do, and anything to do to make making teeth fun. We're all for
it.
100%. Thanks, Sarah.
A big, huge thanks to Jim. I've always been a huge fan for coming on our podcast and talking about your interesting employee-owned lab. I swear, Elvis, it's really great to see a large lab care so much about their employees and the quality of work they put out. Like, super jealous right here. Would you guys buy into a lab you work at now? I say yes.
I think it's an interesting question.
I know. Would you have a better work life if you were part owner? I'm thinking probably.
Well, I'd like to be invested.
I know, right? It's definitely interesting to think about. Thank you, Jim. Super amazing. We will see you at Cal Lab, and we'll see you at LMT Chicago.
Awesome, everybody. That's all we got for you. And we, of course, will talk to you next week.
Have a great week. Stay warm.
Bye. That's cool. Okay. I didn't know. Right. I'm the first of the last to know.
Mm-hmm.
The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.